You need this?
Did you never put the name on the list? Seed shop?
I told them they could sell my seed. Now that I've got my coffee. I'm thinking slightly off topic. In my merhay. V'zeh ba'olam v'nefesh v'chein b'shana yimei ha'maisa d'chol soivavim l'kedusha yom ha'shabbos. The yimei ha'maisa, the work week, both Hashem's work week and our work week of yimei ha'chol soivavim l'kedusha yom ha'shabbos are revolving around the kedusha of Yom HaShabbos. The Pirush, that we've given this over to understand that the way the world works is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has his hashpah on this world, creates the world, Hashem created the world, nothing less than that. And in the creation of the world, he's giving us all the raw material that we need in order to create weiter, to create further in the world. So it becomes our task to take the raw material, if you will, of the creation and to do something with it and make a tikkun in the world, and that doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. We could be masakin. We could be masakin begashmius. This is our whole Gemara of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Looking for a donor for a curtain. A Venetian blind. What can I do? It just happens every time I speak.
The sun comes out.
No control, I guess. We could make a tikkun here on one level, which Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai recognized as a new type of tikkun. Adam HaRishon b'shas charisha, dash b'shas isha. He came out and he saw people are farming. Okay, that's a tikkun. We took the raw material of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're doing something with it. Or we can make a tikkun, and we can make a tikkun, or that very tikkun can be evaporated up to the shamayim. So there's a circle. What we're doing is going up to the shamayim, and hence the circle continues so that there's even a better hashpah in this world. You understand what it means? It means that it's like the rain cycle, I always say, but it means that what's going on in the world is clearly coming min hashamayim. If there's hunger, if there's killing, if there's brachot, if there's enough rain. I was just reading last night that there's miraculous rain going on over the Kinneret. Like it's like a cloud over the Kinneret, and the Kinneret has broken records as to how full it is. Not raining that much. Over the Kinneret, it's raining like a Baruch Hu's raining. Like and that causes, by the way, more rain because now it's evaporating into the sky. It built on itself. So the same thing is in our. The same thing is in our the world that we live in. We have to attach ourselves. I just want to emphasize this point because it's very important. We have to attach ourselves to the world above. We have to attach ourselves to the world above. And therefore, the whole week came Yimei Hamaisa Dechol Soivavim L'Kedushas Yom HaShabbos. If 6 days Hashem spent creating the world, now we have that. Now it's Shabbos. When did Adam walk into the world? Our Shabbos. So the Shabbos became the milestone in time to take that which Hashem created and to evaporate it up. Ironically, there's an Isser Malacha on Shabbos. But there's not an Isser. There's an Isser Malacha by Shabbos because if we do Malacha on Shabbos, that would just be a continuation of the Ma'aseh Bereishis. then we're taking the 6 days and we're making the 7th day. But there's a paradigm shift that takes place between the 6th day and the 7th day, where we're not just continuing doing what HaKadosh Baruch Hu's doing. We're taking what HaKadosh Baruch Hu did, and we're doing something else. And that's the tikkun of Shabbos. Hence, Lamentes Halachos are usher on Shabbos. And what happens when we do? So that's the Yom HaShabbos. So all of the 6 days of creation, Soivavim. Why Soivavim? Because it's on the other side also. Soivavim means that it's surrounding Shabbos. It's coming you're getting it from both ends, right, left, and center. So you have it coming down. We're doing a tikkun. The tikkun now is evaporating back up to the Shemayim. So it means to say that if we do Maisim Toivim, there will be bracha in the world. There'll be Mishamim Be'itam, V'asafta Degonecha, V'sireischa, V'itzarecha, Nasati Esev, L'satcha V'amtecha. The Kriya Shema says very clearly it's dependent on our Maisim. And if Chas v'Shalom we have Sinas Chinam L'mashal, so Sinas Chinam, division here, lack of unity, lack of clarity, evaporating that into Shemayim, now comes down Chorban. Chorban Beis HaMikdash was because of Sinas Chinam, but it wasn't working this way, it was working this way. So part of that cycle. So we evaporated up Sinas Chinam. What do you want to get down? Kedusha? Shechina? So the lashon of the Gemara that says this is that lashon of the Gemara is that by the time HaKadosh Baruch Hu destroyed the Beis HaMikdash, the Romans destroyed the Beis HaMikdash, Kimcha Tachan Tachanta. It was already ground up flour. It was destroyed. It was a straw house. It had no koach, because the koach that it received really was not from the bricks and mortar, or from the Kohanim, or from the Leviim, or from the maintenance people. The real power that it got was from the kedusha, for the tefillot that we were taking off.
It was just something, really.
It's not really. That's what we're talking about. Isarusa de Lasata, Isarusa de Laela. That's not also. That's what we're talking about. The diuk what we're talking about. So the Isarusa de Lasata comes to Isarusa de Laela. I just wanted to share with you. In the Chumash it says, the Parshas told us, Parshas told us, Vayihi Yitzchak ben Arbaim Shana Bekachta Yis Rivka Bas Besuel HaArami Mi Padan Aram Achos Lavan HaArami Loila Isha. Says the Torah, Yitzchak is married to Rivka. Eliezer B'Shliach Hashem pulled off the shidduch. So finally Yitzchak is married to Lavan's sister Rivka. Says the Torah, Vayetar Yitzchak LaHashem L'noichach Ishtoi. And Yitzchak did what? Daven. Kiyakorahi, because she was barren. Vayeyoser loy Hashem, and Hashem did what? Accepted herself. V'tahar Rivka Ishtoi. Vayetar is not the typical lashon of tefillah. Yetar doesn't usually mean tefillah. Here it says Vayetar Yitzchak LaHashem. Could have said Vayispalo Yitzchak LaHashem. That's a lashon already. We could have said that Yitzchak beseeched Hashem. He reached out to Hashem. He cried to Hashem. He spoke to Hashem. So Vayetar is the diuk, but that's not the kasha. The kasha is Vayetar Yitzchak LaHashem L'noichach Ishtoi. Rashi says Yitzchak is standing here. Vayetar Yitzchak LaHashem L'noichach Ishtoi Kiyakorahi Vayeyoser loy Hashem V'tar Rivka Ishtoi. Hashem was Yetar. Let's say we take out the word. Penny, you here? Good morning. Vayetar Yitzchak LaHashem. Yitzchak did what? He davened to Hashem. Vayeyoser loy Hashem. Hashem davened back. It says Vayispalo. Let's say take out the word Vayetar, put in the word tefillah. Vayispalo Yitzchak el Hashem. And then what? Hashem was mekabel his tefillah. Vayispalo el Hashem.
No, it's a tough one.
It's
It's a tough.
tough. Vayeter Yitzchak LaHashem. It's a pillar. That's a pillar. Vayeter Yitzchak LaHashem. Nice. Okay. For some reason, this very interesting lashon in tefillah. And Bakara. Vayeyoser Loi Hashem. Hashem davened him back. What's the Beseder? But we don't find such a thing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu heard his tefillahs. HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered his tefillahs. HaKadosh Baruch Hu smiled Kiviyachal. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was Malal Kisei HaKavod. Whatever Kabbalistic idea you want to say, you don't say David back. So Vayispalel, just change the words. A synonym for Vayetar is Vayispalel. So he David. So let me show you, like Rabbeinu Bachya. I can't find the second of it. Beautiful. Is Rabbeinu Bachya like this? You know what Rabbeinu Bachya was? It's Rabbeinu Bachya ben Rabbeinu Osher, as opposed to Rabbeinu Bachya. First of all, as opposed to Rabbeinu Bachya, there's no such person. Rabbeinu Bachya, Ibn Pakuda, wrote the Chovos HaLevavos. Rabbeinu Bachya ben Osher, ben Rabbeinu Osher, was a Talmud Muvak of the Rashba. He died in 1290. So it was a different, not the Chovos HaLevavos, Rabbeinu Bachya. So says Rabbeinu Bachya as follows: Vayeser Yitzchak LaHashem l'noichat ishtei akarvi. Hayeroy lahaktiv v'leimer v'atihi Rivka akara. It should have said cause, effect. What was being garib here? Rivka was an akara. Gets married, after all of the story, he gets married to Rivka. Rivka's akara. Rivka's barren. What do you do when your wife is barren? Loyalenu? You go get down. So it should have said, right, Rabbeinu Bachya, it should have said, Vatihi Rivka Akara, Be'yaser Yitzchak LaHashem. That would have been the normal way of saying it. Ki Akari, Ubasha Hikti Tefillah. First he davened. Why? Because she was Akar. Almost like a tafel. Yitachal Leimer Shehiktim HaIkir. The Ikir was the Tefillah, but Labadnu, says the Rabbeinu Bachya, what we know. She'ein HaKavana Shetiya Akara Sibas HaTefillah, because by Yitzchak it wasn't, in the big picture, it wasn't that the Akaros was the Siba for the Tefillah, Shimkeda Siba Yikir, Vatefillah Tafel, Aval Kavana Loshen Akasav Ki HaTefillah Sibas HaAkros. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants the Tefillah of Yitzchak. How am I going to get you to daven? So he makes his wife into an Akara. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Misavel L'Tfilas and Shel Tzadikim. This is the Lashon of the Gemara. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants the Tzadikim to daven, so we need some kind of a rub. And the rub is, it's like this, I'm going to get you where it counts. He gets his wife in Akara, this will get you to daven. But it's not the pshat that he's davening because she's an Akara. She's an Akara so that he should daven. So the davening is the ikar. The whole Maisa here of barrenness was Kadeshi Yispalu Shneim ala davar. Lefichach hiktim atzvila sheya'ikir v'asiba rishona shebishvila pshat. Why were all the Imois barren? But this is the part. Here's where it starts. But from here we can learn something. We can learn something about the koach hatfilah, which is so big. Afilu l'shanois hateva, that it can even change nature. Well, think about changing nature. Has anybody levitated recently? Has anybody defied gravity? But tefillah can change teva. She's an akara, and the tefillah can make her not an akara. Akara is a biological fact. It shows up on a sonograph. She's on an MRI. She's an akara. It's a fact. He's davening and he's changing the time. It's not like somehow we're not getting pregnant. Doctors can't explain it. Akara, that's not what akara means. That's a problem. That's a fertility problem. We're not talking. Akara means she does not have the kalim to be pregnant. Physiological, she doesn't have. She's missing. Like a zachar. Like a zachar.
Did he stop davening after this? He davened in the sada?
He gave him more things to daven.
Gave him more things to daven for. Just, okay.
be medayik while you're there, that every time Yitzchak was davening, it had to do with the sadeh, agricultural, having a child, something being born. Afilu l'shanis hateva umitam zeh. Now, stay with me here. Mitam zeh hisker loshan vayetar. What does the loshan vayetar mean? V'lo omar vayispalel. It could have said vayispalel. Oh, vayitzak. He called out. He screamed out to Hashem. Oh, kol shara l'shoynoi shel tefillah. Why does it say vayetar? To my knowledge, the place we don't find anywhere in the loshan of tefillah. Don't find it. Ki hu miloshen itur. You know what itur is? It's a Gemara in Sukkah, it's a Mishnah in Shvius, when you dig a hole in the ground for the sake of turning over the soil. And you take the soil that's on the bottom and you put it on the top, and the soil that's on the top and you put it on the bottom. Turn over the soil. That's an agricultural thing to do. That's why I'm saying that Yitzchak lost suach basodeh. Suach basodeh. He did the loshen atar. V'chein hevinu chazal hu shamar b'parakama de sukkah. He's bringing the Afyadalad. I don't know why he doesn't bring him before the Mishnah and Shvius. Lama nimshala tfilasin shel tzadikim le'atar. The Gemara says that we see. Why do we say tefillah is like atar, like a shovel? An asar is a shovel. Ayin taf reish means a digger, a shovel. Ma atar zeh. Bahapech hagoyren hazeh mi makoim le makoim. Just like a shovel takes the ground and mishes it all up and turns what's down up and what's up down. That's what a shovel does. Kach tfilasin shel sadikim ma'apeches dadgoy shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu can be mahapech the das of HaKadosh Baruch Hu mi midas achzariyos lemidas rachmados. Biuro. That's what the Gemara says. Biuro, says Rabbi Nobachia. How does that work? There's a special kind of tefillah. There's a lot of tefillahs. There's a vayitzak. There's a vayispalel. There's a special kind of tefillah called vayetar, which we should learn about. The vayetar is not the typical tefillah. It's not giving thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's a different thing. It's not asking HaKadosh Vayitzak El Hashem. That's a different thing. It's a special exercise, a spiritual exercise called Vayetar. It's a form of tefillah where one is not arguing with Hashem. That's what Vayispalel means. Vayifalel is to argue. Completely. That's to argue. That's negotiating with Hashem. That's not what this is either. What this is, Vayetar, is I'm digging. I'm mixing up the earth. I'm changing something. I'm changing the property of the earth. Changing the teva. Biurai. Ma ha'atar mahapeches hatvua mimato lamala. Just like when you're digging, you're taking the tevua and you're bringing it mimato lamala. You're bringing it from down to up. Va'acher kach, and then afterwards, mapelas mimalo lamata. What does it do? It naturally, gravity comes, and it falls from a high place to a low place. So look what's happening over here. You're creating a revolution of tefua, a revolution. Kachat tzadik b'tfilosai machshavtai b'shoitetes v'oile bimato lamala. When a tzaddik is davening, his tefillah is going from a low place to a high place. Va'acher kach, what happens afterwards? Mamshichu marid hasheva mimalo lamata. You're causing the shefa now to come down from a high place to a low place.
He's causing, or Hashem is now making, now he's doing the digging, so to speak.
I'm thinking he's digging. Va'acher kach, mamshichu marid hasheva mimalo lamala. Va'atar, the place Anon, you find in Yecheskel, Parachesi says, Va'atar Anon, Haktoris, Oila. Va'atar Anon, Haktoris, Oila. You're making the smoke rise. Atar is, you're doing, Va'od Miloshin Machteres. Interesting. Kumashadarshu. It means that
upheaval.
Right, an upheaval, a making, a revolution, pshuto k'mashmoi. The revolution is that by me doing something lamata, I'm causing a situation where HaKadosh Baruch Hu now is going to do something lamala. By me doing isarusa dilasata, HaKadosh Baruch Hu now is going to do the isarusa dilaela. I've changed the world. The lashon of the chumash is so meduyak. The lashon of Vayetar Yitzchak LaHashem l'noich achishta. Yitzchak did his digging. Vayeyaser loy Hashem. Now HaKadosh Baruch Hu started digging himself. Feel like flying the lashon by Yaser. Not that he answered his tefillot. This was like this. Not that he answered his tefillot. Okay, Yitzchak, you're doing a wonderful job davening. I'm going to answer your tefillot. That's not what it says here. Vayeyaser loy Hashem is I'm going to do what you're doing.
Because Baruch Hu didn't have a choice. Because since you brought it up, since it's a circle, you had to flip it on.
So what Yitzchak was doing was manipulating the Bria. He was manipulating the Teva. So when you want to change somebody from an Akara to not an Akara, so you have this is talking about a Shinui Teva. It's not Hashem give me a bracha. Maybe it is, but it's not your typical tefillah. What it is I'm going to have to get involved here in the Teva Gufa.
How do you do it?
Hashem wants us to change the Teva. Hashem wants us.
He made us a partner in this.
Hashem wants us in this world to change Teva. That was the goal for the parents.
To be misakin the Teva.
But that's Teva.
So why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu make Rivka and Akara? Because he wanted us to do that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu misaveh l'tfilason shel tzaddikim. Does that answer the question?
Which is changing the Teva.
Right. HaKadosh Baruch Hu misaveh. As a taiva, literally, for us to do this. It means we're doing our job. A mature master of the universe that wants the underlings to do their job. But this is a shinui teva gamur that we're capable of through tefillah tzadikim. But that's called atira. The lashon of atira. What do you say, Doug?
Just wondering if Hashem is doing back through a tefillah like a process as well. In other words, the way he does respond, is there just like we daven with words, because he's changing the teva with words, so it's doing the same thing as Yitzchak? Just how the process is working, just wondering.
Don't know.
When we say the Akedah,
I would imagine the lashonis of the Bria happen all over again. This is what it means when it says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is makadesh b'chol yom tuvay ma'aseh bereshis.
Shakol mi b'dvorei.
Shakol mi b'dvorei. Look, here's the Gemara. Let me just say, the Gemara says, Gemara asks a kasha like this in Brachos Lamed Hey, where it says, Ksiv, La Hashem ha'aretz umloya. Uksiv, Hashemayim shemayim La Hashem, ha'aretz nosan l'bnei Adam. So which way is it? Is the world belong to Adam, or does the world belong to Hashem? Who's the master of the universe? Is it La Hashem ha'aretz umloya? He's the master of the universe. The universe is the earth, the world. La Hashem ha'aretz umloya, or is it Hashemayim shemayim La Hashem? Say there, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shemayim ha'aretz nosan l'bnei Adam. Phrase Zakta Gemara. Kan koydem habracha, kan la'achar habracha. Depends how you make a bracha. So I'm eating the apple belongs to Hashem. If I make a bracha, the apple belongs to me. So I paid my little dues here for the apple. Or, deeper, is the pshat that don't just eat this apple. Be misaking the world here. Before you make a bracha, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving apples out. When you make a bracha, it means to say that you're doing your piece of the avodah that a person can do in this world. You're making a haficha by making this bracha, but it's not just a physical bracha. By planting that apple, by bringing out the ruchnius of the apple, by using the kochos that you get from the apple to do a good thing. You're taking HaKadosh Baruch Hu's bria, you're converting it to ruchnius, and you're evaporating that up to the shemayim. So you know what? You just became the master of the universe. Hashem ha'aretz umloya kan koinem habracha. Ha'aretz nasa livnei adam. You have earned your keep. You're working in your domain. This is our domain, and in our domain, Hashem tzilcha al yad yaminecha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will shadow us. Top of a fella. it's madhim if we really believe this. Once I remember that the Rav Steinberg, Will of Hashem, was staying at my house, so I was telling him that so and so came in for a brachot. It was a story that it was a very interesting thing. That somebody came in, he davened nets with the mini daven with a nets minion in our house with Rav Steinberg because he davened nets. So he had together people for nets and a random guy came in. And the Rosh Yeshiva, he came over to Shalom Aleichem, Rosh Yeshiva, that's all, Shalom Aleichem, Rosh Yeshiva, I was standing there. And the Rosh Yeshiva said to him, it'll be okay. So, when the Rosh Yeshiva was already in his 90s, so people never knew when, maybe he's forgetting, he thinks he's somebody else. He told them, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. What'll be okay? Don't worry. He doesn't, I'm not worried, but it'll be okay. The guy calls me 2-3 hours later. He says, "You want to hear a boifus of your Rebbe?" So I said, "Okay, I like hearing boifus of my Rebbe." So he said that I came to daven at your house. I heard there was a dance video because I had to catch a plane. The plane took off, and they said as soon as we took off, they said that one of the part of the gear is damaged, and we have to make an emergency landing. And everybody got very nervous, and ringing in my ear was the words of the Rav Steinberg who came to me. He said, "Oh, don't worry, it'll be okay." Okay, so after he called me, I went over to the Rosh Yeshiva, and I told him the story. So he chuckled, nice little story. Right, you put it in my biography. So he said, he was laughing at it. So I said, no, it's a real thing. It's a serious thing. So he said to me, to give a bracha is really an easy thing. You just have to know how to do it. How do you do it? How do you do it? Yeah, to give a bracha is an easy thing. In other words, once you learn how to access the koichos of Adam, you can be mahapach the teva. These are my words. All he said was, "Ha'aretz nasan lifnei Adam." That's what he said. Ha'aretz nasan lifnei Adam. Yeah, that was his words. Ha'aretz nasan lifnei Adam. A person can be mahapach the teva. Let me show you something interesting here.
And they explain what to do. They told you what to do.
No, I'm still learning how. So you gotta.
Come on.
You know how it's easy. Anybody want to do some brain surgery? Look, if you know how, it's easy. But Yitzchak knew how. By the way, the Rashi says here that Vayaser loy Hashem, that he was davening and she was davening, and Hashem answered him. So it says Rashi, famous and appellative Rashi. Rashi says, "K'zeina doime tefillas tzadik ben tzadik." He was Yitzchak ben Avraham, l'tefillas tzadik ben bas Rasha. She was Rivka bas Besuel. So Besuel was no tzaddik. Her brother Lavan, which keeps on coming prominently in the vision, no tzaddik. So Ein Adayma, how can you compare? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered his tefillah, not hers tefillah. So it was the opposite of what we're always learning. No, aren't we always learning that Malkam Shabalei Tshuva Imdim Ein Tzadikim Gemurim Michal Olam Hashem? Her tefillah should have been even stronger than his tefillah. Why was his tefillah strong? So until now, I always learned the pshat is pashut that I think this is the pshat that about Tshuva's tefillah is always going to be good. Something new, it's something fresh, it's something beautiful. It's not mitzvahs hanoshim milumada. It's not reg hergel. It's not just davening. Val Tshuva's davening. So v'makom shabalei tshuva im demein tzadikim gemurim yichol lamay. Tzadik ben tzadik, very difficult to daven b'kavanah. This is I daven, my father daven, my grandfather daven. We're davening like this for generations. We're coming to show can't daven. So now, if a tzadik ben tzadik davens b'kavanah, Kadosh Baruch Hu says, "Whoa, look at this! This is really something." About tshuva to daven, I'm not impressed. For a tzaddik ben tzadik to daven, we have to fight against every part of you. So that's already Kadosh Baruch Hu. But yeter loy Hashem. Okay, that's what I learned until now. But I'm understanding that there's something deeper here also, and that is that he had a Messiah. Yitzchak had a Messiah that Rivka did not have, and that is how to be Mahapach B'Teva. And he had this Messiah from Avraham Avinu. And the Messiah from Avraham Avinu. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu heard his tefillah in a different way because he was a tzaddik, then tzaddik had a Messiah how to do this in this Vayet.
Isn't that exactly what we asked for when we mentioned the Akedah in the morning?
Yeah.
Did that mean us? Because Moshe Avraham was Kodesh.
Moshe Avraham Avinu Kavash Yisracham.
Yeah. So you were asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu to be
Mahapav.
His midas. Punkt is all the time.
Look at these famous psukim in Parshas Lech Lecha. Avraham Avinu, not Yitzchak. Avraham Avinu, looking for a child. Avraham Avinu is looking for a child. Vayomer Avram hein li lo nasati zara. Hinei ben beisi yarishaisi. It's all going to go to Eliezer. I don't have Geza. I don't have an offspring. So this is the same Maisa generation earlier. Avraham Avinu is trying to find a child in the Shemayim someplace. Some of the most famous psukim in Chumash. Vayotzei oisai hachutza. Hashem took him outside. How did that feel? What is that? It's not a nevuah. Hashem spoke to him. Hashem took him outside. Vayotzei oisei hachutza. Vayomer, and Hashem said to him, Habet na hashemayim. Hashemayim. Look, please, at the Shemayim, Usfara Kechavim, and count the stars. Im tuchal lisparoisam, if you can count them. Vayomer lo koyi azarecha. Koyi azarecha. Count the stars. If you can count them, that's how your children will be. Well, we know already this doesn't mean, he wasn't talking about the quantity of his children. He told them a few pages earlier, actually, by the bris. He told them by the bris ben Amsar. He said that your children will be kechol hayam. It's another nekuda over here. So Rashi says here, he took him chutza. Always dangerous when you have a Rashi that we say all the time and know that we were going to miss the real pshat. So let's look at it properly. That's a positive pshat. Took him outside. I want to show. Let's do some stargazing together. Baruch took him outside. He knows what stars are. He doesn't have to take him outside to know what stars are. You just could have said to him, Avraham Avinu, intelligent. Can you count stars? Go Yezarach. Needed a visual aid here to actually look at the stars. So Rashi says. I look at Klal and Rashi that if he brings a medrash, the pshat doesn't suffice. Well, if he medrashay, the medrash is Amar Loi. He said to him, "Say, may it's dagnina shulcha. Go out of your astrology." Sheraisa b'mazalis. Avraham Avinu was an astrologer. He knew every chacham. Sheraisa b'mazalis. Hashem said, "I know that you saw in the stars she'eincha asid lahamid ben, that you are not going to have a child." So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Avram ein loy ben, avol Avraham yesh loy ben. You're looking at the wrong chart. Because you're looking at the Avram chart, and there's an Avraham chart. V'chein Sarai loy teled, avol Sarah teled. So you're looking at the wrong chart. So sometimes there's such a thing as, if God forbid, a person is hopelessly ill, and their mazel just is not good, so you do a shinoi Hashem. Get up by the Sefer Torah, you do a shinoi Hashem, and by doing the shinoi Hashem, you can change their mazel. That's what we see from this Rashi. Don't do this unless you really know what you're doing, because who knows that the next mazel is better than this mazel. If it's a mazel that Baruch Hu gave you, got to know what you're doing. You need Gedolei Ador to tell somebody to change your name. Just don't. Like everybody's always changing their name. You Gedolei Ador. Even people are becoming Balei Tshuva, always changing their name. Al Tikra Shimcha Ricky, you're now called Yerachmiel. when you do that, you're changing your mazel. Who's to say, which Hebrew teacher in 6th grade knows that that's the right thing to do to change the mazel? If that's how your name is, how your name. It's not partial to me at all. You had a name at your bris, you have a name at your bris. It's not to, when I went to school, so like everybody came in, what was your name? John. What's your name? Julius. What's your name? Everybody, the teacher gave you a Hebrew name. Because it was Israeli, couldn't relate to George and John. Hebrew name. The next thing they're getting permits, so they're called to the Torah by this Hebrew name. That's their name. So, you have to really think about this in of names. So here's your Rashi says, but here's a diuk Rashi.
I'm not talking about going from the secular name that a person has to the Hebrew name given at birth.
A name is what you're called.
No,
Alexander's a secular name. That's his name. I don't want to change it to something else.
No, but Alexander was given at birth also. What I'm saying is like for instance, I'm Heath.
Okay.
But Aryeh Shmuel was my name. Sorry.
Don't be embarrassed.
No. So that's my legal American name. I'm Heath. So Aryeh Shmuel was my name at the birth. I had a kosher birth, Baruch Hashem, right? So
how did the world? How did they get from Aryeh Shmuel to Heath?
That's a different story.
I mean, David, I hear of it though.
Yeah. In Hebrew, hit like with a stick. I have no idea. So at some point when I was about 28, 29, I said, I'm going to go by Shmuley. Is that a change in mazel? That was given to my name given at birth. But the Rebbe's talking about,
Look, when a person has a bris, and they give you a name, so it's hashgacha pratis what that name is, because it establishes your mazel. The Ruach HaKodesh is one of the times the Gemara says that there's Ruach HaKodesh comes out of the mouth of the Father and says, this is the name. People tell me stories, I'm often naming kids at a bris, and somehow I get that kibbut a lot. they keep it a lot. I always say semi-jokingly, did you think of something, or do you want me to do it? Every once in a while somebody says, please. Have fun with the name. Maybe your Ruach HaKodesh is better than my Ruach HaKodesh. I don't have too much Ruach HaKodesh. I'm very schwach in that area. But the Ruach HaKodesh, it means that that's the mazel of that person. So hence the Gemara says, Kol HaMachana Shem L'Chaveroi. If you make a kinui Hashem, ein lecheluk lo'olam haba. You can lose your olam haba, his olam haba. You don't call somebody. If your name is Shmuel, so why are you calling yourself Shmuley?
I wasn't even talking about that, but right.
I am. So I'm just look. That's a bigger change than Avram and Avraham. So there's a whole different astrological chart here. But the nekuda that I want to bring out from Rashi so far, until we get to the real Rashi, the nekuda is that there isn't here saying that, like, forget astrology. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not talking here like the Rambam and saying, what do you get rid of those shtusim, the astrologers, you're a religious man now. You're talking to me. He didn't say that. He said, you're just looking at the wrong chart. You got to need another internet site here. You got to move to Gene Dixon in the New York Times. Got to get away from it. He was saying it's a very serious thing, this mazolos, but you're looking at the wrong thing. Very serious thing, but you're looking at the wrong thing because you have a different name. You don't have to go with the name Avraham, you have to go with the name Avraham. So it means, like the Ramchal explains, we talk about it at night, that the Ramchal explains that these stars are actually the switching system where Ruchnius goes to Gashmius. Meaning, Isarusa Dileila. It's coming HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the tzimtzum, the Ramchal says in Derech Hashem, the tzimtzum gufa is taking place in those stars. That's the switching place. So Hashem's world is completely, the world of Atzilus is completely Ruchnius. It's coming into the world of Gashmius. How does Ruchnius turn into Gashmius? Yesh me'ayin. How does that happen? The answer is you need a system here. You need HaKadosh Baruch Hu created a very sophisticated system. In Tuchal Lispor, you can't even count how many stars there are out there, because that's how the stars are very powerful, not unto themselves as a koach, but they are the koach of Teva. All of Teva, by the way, as the astrological system was used and believed by everybody, friend and foe. Jews, non-Jews, everybody until recently, in the last couple of 100 years, until the Rambam, let's say, until the 12th, 13th century, it was a davar pashut that Paro, Avraham Avinu, the Ebenezer wrote a sefer in astrology. It was a davar pashut that this is the way to go. Not because we're like, the Rambam doesn't argue with it either. All the Rambam says is that Tavim Tiyem Hashem Elokecha. What are you looking for your future in the stars? just do the right thing. The future is HaKadosh Baruch Hu's problems. It doesn't mean it doesn't have written in those stars. So what's that? So he says, let me just, so here he says, the stars represent the Teva. When we talk about Teva, the way to understand Teva is Kechavim. Kechavim are the sign, the circuitry of everything that's going on in this world. That's what it is. That's what Rashi is saying. But your circuitry is not applying to Avraham, it's applying to Avraham. Zok Rashi. Dover Acher. Let me tell you a different shot from a medrash. One's in Bereshis Rabbah Yud, and one's in Bereshis Rabbah Yud Beis. Dover Acher. Hoitziyai mechalolei shel olam. And the Rashi is saying, I'm telling you now, even another pshat. Rashi's pshat. Hoitziyu mechalolei shel olam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu walked him out of the atmosphere of the world, and he took him into outer space, which is lamala min ha'kechavim. So vayotze osa hachutza means not that he took him out of the tent, but he took him out of this world completely. So Avraham Avinu now didn't go out of the tent and looked up, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu took him on a magic ride into the Yotze Mechalol Shalom Vayotze Oisai HaChutza. He went out of the whole atmospheric, he went to outer space. Vayotze Oisai HaChutza, and he looked at the stars from there. Let me give you a different view of these stars. Instead of looking up at the stars, look down at the stars. Because it says in the Torah that you should be mabit. Vayomer habet na hashamayim. Habet is always a lashon. Rashi says milamala lemata. That's what habet means.
Observe.
To observe. We're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu on Mondays and Thursdays. Habet mishamayim urei. Habet mishamayim urei. Look from up to down. So why is he telling Avraham Avinu to look from up to down when he's down? The answer is because Baruch gave him a ride over here. And he took him lamala minat kechavim, and he says to him, Haben, milamala lemata, says Rashi.
First astronaut.
The first astronaut. So Avraham Avinu, Rashi saying pshat. Rashi saying that I'm still not happy with the idea of a Yotza Oseh Chutza, that he told him that your name is going to change and the astrology it doesn't apply to you over here. But I'm still not happy because I have a word habet. And habet means you're looking from up to down. So if you're looking from up to down, I have to say another medrash, says Rashi, that I'm taking you chutz mechalolei shel olam v'yotzei chutza, and you're looking down. Okay, so we have two pshatim in Rashi. Pshat one, pshat two. Pshat one, Avraham Avinu, both of them are liking the stars here very much. Pshat one is Avraham Avinu is looking up at the stars. Pshat two is Avraham Avinu is looking down on the stars. So what's the difference if you're looking up at the stars or you're looking down at the stars? The pshat is, are you involved in you're in this world, right? In the world he's living over, he's looking up at the stars. But you should know that you're also looking down on the stars. In other words, there's an isarusa de l'sato, there's an isarusa de l'ela. You're in this world, and you're going, and you're looking, and you're taking the hashpa from Shemayim, from Milamala, Levato. But you're doing something else, Avraham Avinu. You're affecting that which is in Shemayim and changing it to, you're transforming it to something different, Lagamri. You're changing the Teva Mamish because you're on top of the stars now looking down. Let me give you a different view of what you're doing when you're davening.
Not just the puppet, you're also the puppeteer.
Let me Hashem silcha al yad yaminecha. So you understand why it says that Yitzchak was nana, because he was a tzaddik ben tzaddik? He had a Messiah from Avraham Avinu that when we're davening, it's an atira, which is causing not just Hashem to answer our tefillos. That's for amateurs. When you're davening, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing the same thing you're doing. You're making a mapecha, Hashem is making a mapecha. So Avraham Avinu had now the schus, I can have children even though it's keneged ateva. The teva is the stars. I can move around those stars. Apple Vela.
That's Bella.
I can move around. Ein Mazel Yisrael doesn't mean that there's no such thing. Ein Mazel Yisrael means that we have an ability that Avraham Avinu taught us and Yitzchak taught us. One of the most important messiahs we have from the Avos. This would show you that Yaakov did the same thing. We have a messiah of being able to do something here. Vayetar Yitzchak El Hashem, Vayeosen La Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing exactly what he's doing. You're in this world. Avraham Avinu looking up at the stars. Let me show you a different view of the stars.
Why not say it's a schus of us rather than a Messiah? Or both?
Where does it say? So it says, Eino David, Tfilos Tzadik, Tzadik.
I'm saying, so it could be that Yitzchak had a schus, Avraham Avinu, he had a schus to be able to do that.
Oh, why don't we say?
Yeah, right.
Say? Because I think it was much deeper than that. He learned something by Yitzchak Yitzchak Lasuach Basada. He went out to the Sada. I'm going to do something. What do you do in the Sada? Vayeyoser.
He's trying down something else.
What do you do when you're Chayfer Be'erais? Yitzchak, everything we know about Yitzchak is that he's Chayfer Be'erais. Asma Plishtim, Chayfer Be'erais. It's the tikkunim that we're doing in this world which is shaking up the whole Shemayim. So, yeah, I mean, like, just to say something here, Lavaisa, I mean, how do you do it? If you know how to do it, it's easy. If you know how to do it, it's easy. I believe that, anybody in the room here could write a check for $1 million to Tzedakah, like, everybody could do it. But I don't know if anybody in the room could cover it. So the chap is not to write the check, the chap is to cover it. Everybody can daven. The shaila is like, davening is not yet money in the bank. Davening is not coverage. Davening is the check. What backs up the check? The bison that a person does, the bison toivim that a person does. So we find that Vayeyos there is a very physical thing. It's a very physical thing. I'm doing something. Vayeyos is a physical loss. I'm digging. I'm turning over the soil. It means to say, like I said earlier, that if a person would practice, let's say, Avas Yisrael. So if you practice Avas Yisrael, you have Avas Hashem. It's Mita Keneged Mita, but it's a deep shot of Mita Keneged Mita. It's not just HaKadosh Baruch Hu mirroring us. It's a gather of Hashem Tzilcha Yad Dividacha. This is our partnership in the Bria. This is Gufa, our partnership in the Bria. If we want the Beis Hamikdash, we have to live Beis Hamikdash. Whatever you want. So somebody was talking to me yesterday about the fact that there's a child that's in the sonogram. It comes out that there's a heart problem. An interesting heart problem that the right ventricle, the left ventricle are reversed. I don't know enough cardiology to understand exactly how this works. And they can fix it, Baruch Hashem. But it's scary, yeah? They can fix it. So thank God there's surgeries you can do immediately to change the plumbing of the heart. But they said, Messiah, there's something, but like, what's the, ask me, maybe you have an idea for like, what's exactly the tikkun here? What's exactly the tefillah? What's exactly the message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu with this? So what is it? What is like an inside-out heart? I'm not a rebbe. I'm just taking a shot at it. But it's like I always say this part, like the heart is everything in here. I always say this. I say this under chumras a lot. That everything that's important is on the right side. You put on your right shoe before you put on your left shoe. You put on your tefillin on your left hand only so you can wrap it with your right hand. The tzad yamin is the tzad which is very, very important. Always, right? Leiv chacham liyamin. Yet, interestingly, the most important part of our body, the leiv, is on the left side, Pella. Pella on the bria. I could have put it over here, I was putting it over there. So, I always say this part, like, who told you, if I'm standing with a chassan and kala, I said, do me a favor, stop looking at me and look at each other for a second. And who told you your heart is for yourself? You know where your heart is? On the Kala's right side. And you know where your heart is? On the Chassan's right side. So it's on your left, but the other person's right, with your Keneged. So the inside-out heart is such an interesting idea of how much can I actually focus and say that I'm created for somebody else. It's the tikkun. How much can I say that my lave is pushing not to be margish myself, my lave is to be margish somebody else. So now what do we can do now? Can I be margish the pain, the simcha of somebody else? Can I be margish it? My lave could be there. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is margish my lave on my left side for your right. So the person who's connected. Keneged ishtay. Who could be margish? So I said maybe that's the tikkun. The tikkun is that maybe what we need to do, the vayei aser that we need to do over here is, I'm not giving musar to the people that are holding by hearing, Pshat is to start to be margish. That's what the lave is all about. But not just to be margish yourself. I feel tired. I feel angry. This makes me feel... You know, sometimes a person goes to a therapist for too many years and they're so in touch with their feelings. That's all they talk about. I feel angry. This makes me feel sad. This makes me feel happy. It's good. Guys, to be in touch with your feelings. But when you be in touch with somebody else's feelings a little bit. That's also not going to, so I can say you have to come here. Touch somebody else's feelings, and then, Vayei Aser Lo Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu changes the whole teva, the whole peicham, everything is changed based on this.
That's why when you daven for someone for floors, it means you're also doing it for yourself.
Right.
So,